I was a young lad in days long gone by. I remember at one time a little wolf cub was I, so smart in me neckerchief of red, white and blue, with me Baden Powell knuckle dusters hidden in me shoe. How well I remember, how well I recall those days that I spent as a little wolf cub so small, with our dip, 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 dips and our dub, 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 dubs. Oh, for those glorious days in the cubs. Our Kayla, Big Bertha, she were built like a bus. As a Wigan second row prop forward, she could have turned out no fuss. When we played British Bulldog, she joined in the fun. Half the pack were up in casualty by time she were done. How well I remember, how well I recall those days that I spent as a little wolf cub so small, with our dip, 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 dips and our dub, 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 dubs. Oh, for those glorious days in the cubs. Well, they asked us to do a good turn every day. I'm afraid some of our lads got a bit carried away. They'd help poor old ladies across the main road, but held them hostage in middle till they paid what they owed. How well I remember, how well I recall those days that I spent as a little wolf cub so small, with our dip, 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 dips and our dub, 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 dubs. Oh, for those glorious days in the cubs. When you're in the cubs, they used to give you penknives, and me dad was fascinated by this one blade, which was kind of shaped like that with a bit on the end, and he asked our Kayla what this blade was for, and she said, getting stones out of horses' hooves. So he spent the next 6 months, and this was tricky on the streets of North Manchester, looking for a horse. So he was hoping, he used to follow horses around, waiting to see one of them got a limp, and then he could spring into action. He started spreading bags of gravel in front of the horses in the hope that they'd trod on this, and he could do it. It never happened for him, unfortunately. A lifelong regret. Well, they gave us all penknives when we joined the pack. It had hundreds of blades, and you nearly lost track. I couldn't find any horses with stones in their hooves, though for emptying the odd slot machine, quite useful it proved. How well I remember, how well I recall those days that I spent as a little wolf cub so small, with our dip, 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 dips and our dub, 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 dubs. Oh, for those glorious days in the cubs. Last verse now, quite sad. Well, the time came at last when they asked me to leave. 27 years old, not a badge on my sleeve. Ah, Kayla said, CANAVAN, your cub days are done. I said, I know, I found a girl guide, I might have a bit of bloody fun. How well I remember, how well I recall those days that I spent as a little wolf cub so small, with our dip, 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 dips and our dub, 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 dubs. Oh, for those glorious, glorious, glorious days in the cubs. Ba-bum-bum.